You were mentioning how important morale is for an orchestra. And right now, whenever I leave the hall, I can say to myself, the orchestra has really enjoyed that concert. I enjoyed it too. But how do you promote and keep morale in an orchestra, particularly, over the years they've gone through a lot?
Yeah. For me, it's all about showing them respect. I'm probably very demanding. I rehearse a lot. Probably sometimes they go and say, I just wish he would stop rehearsing. But when I rehearse, I ask them to do things that I wouldn't ask them to do if I didn't respect them, if I didn't respect their talent. And so I expect an extremely high level all the time, but I ask for it in a way that I hope is always very positive. And I'm always grateful. I mean, there's a kindness is very underrated in our world, and it used to be very untrendy to be kind from the podium. That was a terrible sign of weakness, But you can be very demanding and still kind, and they know that I really love to hear them play so beautifully. When they turn a beautiful phrase, even in the concert, they can see me respond to it, and I just really appreciate what they do and how hard they have to work, and then that morale builds on itself, and they also have a lot of respect and praise for each other, so that the mood, generally speaking, well, we have the used to be the poker table side, and then there's the hockey table side, and then there's the side where the violins are, where they just eat sugar all day. And then there may be some other thing. There's something goes on in one of the back dressing rooms, which I'm not quite sure what it is. Nothing awful, but I think something's keeping them very happy anyway.
I was just wondering what the impact of the audience energy is on the orchestra's performance. So you're talking about how sound check brings in youthful energy, and I wonder, does that change that performance for that evening?
Yeah, I think, are you a sound checker?
Yes, I am.
I thought you might be. I think that the audience participation aspect is hugely important in all performance. I mean, when we go to a play and the audience is great, we feel that. There are so many different kinds of silence, and music is actually all about the relationship with silence, as is speech. And so when there's a particularly fabulous audience one night and they're on the edge of their seat, and last night actually during Murray's slow movement, for example, the audience was wonderful, and you really feel that contribution that is being made by some miraculous, magical attention energy that people give. So we have a great audience in Toronto, because many of you probably have been to concerts in other places, but not as often as I have, because I conduct in a lot of other places, and I can tell you that Torontonians are a really wonderful audience.
We cough a lot.
Well, yeah. Not as much as in other places.
I guess John can answer this too, but I'm just wondering what recordings you're listening to right now and what music is engaging you.
What recordings I'm listening to? Gosh, as if I'd have time. I wish I had time to do that. This last 2 weeks I've been preparing these huge programs, and I mean, honestly, the last 10 days I've been staring at this 150 pages of Murray Schafer's music, which has never been played before. So there's no existing recording of it, and just figuring out what it is in my head and how to interpret it, and playing the piano a little bit to knock out some harmonies and some melodic things and contrapuntal things, and I mean, that's what in all my spare time, I'm just up there quietly in my room, shaping interpretations. If I listen to music, it's usually Paco de Lucia, frankly, because I put that on and I go into a different mode, and that renews my energy. So I don't often listen to orchestral music for pleasure. I do listen to orchestral music to discover, as the gentleman was talking about, certain composers. I do it for that reason, but honestly, rarely just just because I have time, and so then I put something on.
Well, then, are there any recordings that have, I don't know, inspired you, or been a big part of your life?
Well, I think certainly when I was young, there were, I used to listen to David Oistrakh, and I just thought that was the most extraordinary music making you could imagine. And I mean, there are a lot of recordings that have. I'm a huge lover of piano music, actually. I mean, obviously the string quartet literature I lived with for many, many years, and I love that. But piano music, to listen to a late Schubert sonata or a late Beethoven sonata, or there's Brahms intermezzi, or the Debussy Ravel. I mean, there's so much, Schoenberg, so much great Berg Opus 1. I mean, I love listening to the piano. There's something very pure about it for me. When you hear all of these voices all the time, then getting back to the purity of that single instrument is very stimulating. Yeah, of course, I think we've all had our favorite recordings over the years, and that gives us that certain glue which you then adapt to other listening.
Do you think that the HD, I don't know if you know about the HD performances from LA, the Philharmonic, do you think that will have an impact on your attendance? For the positive?
Well, the Met, it's very interesting. I mean, but the Met is such an extraordinary opera company. I mean, they have a budget that's, probably double the size of La Scala or Covent Garden. I mean, it's just, what they do is incredible. And so, and there are not that many great opera houses in the world. I mean, having said that, the danger of the Met broadcast is that they could actually prevent the survival of some small opera companies in certain cities, and that could be of concern. But, I mean, to be perfectly fair, the LA Philharmonic is a very good orchestra, and Dudamel is fabulous. I mean, I love, but I don't think any of us would disagree. It's not the Berlin Philharmonic. I mean, it's not like, it's much more exciting to go to listen to a live concert.
I'm just wondering, would it help to increase attendance? I mean,
because I thought you were saying, would it decrease attendance? No, I see. I don't know. I'm not sure how successful it will be. I mean, how's it been going?
There's another one coming up. They've done one, and the attendance was much, much lower than with the opera broadcasts.
Yeah.
But I mean, the symphony is not primarily a visual medium.
That's true too.
You go to listen to the symphony, not to see it.
Yeah.
Because it kind of looks the same no matter where you go.
Yeah.
So I think that may make a big difference in terms of how it comes across. But it's with the second broadcast just coming up. It's probably too early to tell definitively.
Yeah. I mean, it would be wonderful if it does stimulate more interest in listening to symphony music. But yeah, I don't quite see it as being on the same level as the Met.
Have you ever been tempted to add? And I'm sorry, there's one question left, I guess. But have you been tempted to add more visuals to a symphony broadcast, just for those people who might be looking for something to look at while the music is playing?
I mean, we've done it on occasion a little bit, and there's been a lot of discussion about it here and there, and we've done it in other places a lot. I think it can be, you can argue both ways. You really can, and maybe having 4 a year. It's also terribly expensive, by the way. But to have maybe 4 events a year where you have video cameras and you can really hone in on individual players, I think it could be very exciting. Could be really, really lovely. There's another opportunity for sponsorship. Please.
I'm actually here to wrap up the questions, but thank you very much. This was a very enlightening discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much.